Vasan is a perfect child. If Sriram Raghavan and Anurag Kashyap were to get married, they would have Vasan Bala as their firstborn.
Oh, that's a good one.
What a guy. Superb. And the fuck. Next thing is, his life is fucked. He thinks he's gonna get this promotion. He's like, wow, my office. Second thing, life is fucked.
So when everybody says it was really easy, it wasn't for me. We were all friends. No, we weren't. I really wasn't. I didn't know them.
It is such a pleasure to see all of you. And I have to say, this is the first time we're trying this format. So it is panel versus panel. Yay!
Full house.
Full house. It is indeed a full house. Dipanjana is going to begin.
It's not as adversarial as that.
Versus. No versus.
Yeah,
Where are
it's
the
not,
gloves?
it's not that much versus.
From
but,
our side, we'll send Sikandar first.
Should I get on my...
considering what happens in the film with his character, I would not
That's
want
why.
him as
That's
an
the reason we're
adversary.
sending Sikandar.
But we'll get there in a bit. I actually wanted to ask you, Vasan. The film is based on a story by Kigo Higashino. And he's famous, of course, for his Japanese crime fiction, very strongly rooted in Japanese society. Do you feel crime makes it easier to translate from one culture to another? Like, what went into taking a Japanese story and setting it in Pune?
So, two things, Sriram Raghavan, two words actually. Because one is Matchbox, the company that he runs with Sanjay Rautare, Sarita and Sriram, they already had the novel. What I liked was it was already it was a lesser known Kyago Higashima novel. I don't think even he's proud of it. I don't know. I'm just-
Trust Vasan to see that.
so it's not that
Usko bhi
popular.
itna
So which is
pasand nahi.
anyways like an incentive, like take a popular writer but lesser known work and see what to do. And Yogesh was gotten as the writer and he has been like toiling with it for a very long time. So he then adapted the book and it actually came to me as Monica Oh My Darling. So then of course then we started working on the draft that came to me, but it came to me as Monica Oh My Darling with Yogesh already having worked on it.
Interesting. Because the Pune parts are...
So Pune is, I mean, we had this conversation of changing places, but we were like, if it's Sriram, it has to be Pune. So that is like, we wouldn't want to move from there.
right.
As my friend Sumit Roy said, the Marathi Manus Noir. So it's so unique to him and
I love it.
only he could, So we didn't want to move from Pune.
So, Raj, as I was watching this film, I was thinking that you started your debut with a short film in, of course, Dibakar's anthology called Paap Ki Dukaan. So this film could have also been called Paap Ki
Wow, it was
Dukaan.
called Paap Ki Dukaan.
Baap ka office maybe.
Paap Ka Office, correct.
Baap ka office and Baap ka office. Yeah.
Jayant goes through so much in this movie. What did you enjoy most when he's like in that Master of the Universe mode, or when he's, in that really sad, I'm going to lose it all? What was the most fun?
I think what I enjoyed the most is the moment he thinks he's the master of the universe and something happens.
Yeah.
Like the scene between us, almost the second, third scene in the film. And he's thinking, what a guy. Superb. And the fuck. Next thing is, his life is fucked.
Right.
And then he thinks he's gonna get this promotion. He's like, wow, my office. Second thing, life is fucked. Get those photographs. So I enjoyed those moments. The moment he feels a little happy in life,
Correct.
I think God had other plans for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed those twists and turns that's happening in his life throughout the film.
Yeah.
Even
Till
till
the
the
end.
end where he's like, now I'm happy. Got it. What the fuck? You can't see him happy, na? Like,
Basically.
Yeah, it's classic noir template.
the moment he
Just
feels
take
now she's
someone
on
and
his side and
make them suffer.
things are
Yeah,
Gone.
sort out.
Gone.
Crazy, yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what I enjoyed
Yeah.
the most. He's never happy. He's never at peace.
Yeah.
And we all are laughing at his misery, basically.
Yeah, poor guy.
Huma, I wanted to ask you about Monica because, she's got, she takes that sort of vamp character but brings her center stage. And I really loved the way that there was no judgment on Monica. She's feisty. She's unashamed about what she's doing. She's very, very sorted. If there is, in fact, any judgment, it's actually on the men who are trying to use her. And it was just it was a delightful character to see. And I was wondering what for you was the most interesting part of Monica?
Monica's not a vamp. In fact, we have a huge problem with the word vamp because why are we, seeing her through that lens? She's just like anybody else in life, just wants the best for herself. And she will do whatever it takes to, very much like the other characters in the thing. Just because maybe she is more desirable looking or comes in that kind of a beauty package, I guess we have a way of looking at beautiful women through a certain lens who are not afraid to use their sexuality to get what they want. And we call them hence vamps. But men do the same thing all the time, and we never label them or feel the need to label them with such a derogatory term. So for us, in fact, what was really important was how do you bring across the humanity of her and almost dignity. Like at no point in time does she ever lose dignity of being who she is. And she's quite unafraid, And she's very clear and very upfront about her needs and her choices and having been dealt up, I guess. I mean, the backstory which we never get into is, of course, she must have come from a place of hardship, but she's done the best for herself and she's very proud of it. So, I played a similar character maybe in Badlapur. I wouldn't say similar, but I feel like also it was challenging when we did Badlapur again, coincidentally with Sriram, like it was almost the same thing because here's a sex worker where you're trying to give her dignity that, can a sex worker actually get violated or get raped? Because we see them through such a lens, and how do you bring across empathy for that character? So I feel in that sense, Monica has been a very, very beautiful, special character to play because, I wouldn't want anybody to not be on her side. Why shouldn't you? You should root for her in that sense.
Yeah, I think you definitely root for her, for sure. Yeah.
And Vasan, with you, one of the things I really loved about the film is, you have those really funny cutaway gags. It's like these winks to the audience. There's obviously that ridiculous the newscaster. You have those cheeky cameos from what I'm calling the Vasan verse. And you even have that scene with Johnny Gadar in the background. So, were those... Yeah, it was such a sort of fun reference. Were those as fun to shoot as they were to watch? And were there any really cool ideas for skits and gags you had that couldn't make it to the final film?
Most of it did make. A couple of scenes were cut for length. Maybe we put it out as deleted scenes. I don't know if they're worth it, or if people are interested. But most of it is always fun. It gives me a very weird emotional anchor to what we're doing because this is not necessarily a film wherein you're emotionally driven to make. You still go through the same hardship. Every film it does because we were shooting right after the second wave and it's so many uncertainties and you have to, and film's a logistical medium, right? It's not it's based on location, on dates. She'll be coming from London, she'll be going for some other film, and within which you have to shoot the climax first and then go to the first scene somewhere else. So within all that, just placing that one thing from my childhood or one good memory, it just keeps you grounded. And if it makes to the film, it's just a happy thing. And when you meet your tribe, and it's all the more happier that like I could use the name of a childhood friend or the film I love or anything. So it's more like an emotional placement there.
My cousin Minnie.
And yeah, so it just helps. It just helps to go through all that you have to go through to make a film.
I'd definitely love to watch the deleted scenes for any others.
Yeah, it's a fun one actually. One that long one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The emotional sort of tone that you were talking about, I felt like the music and the soundtrack really contributed to that in a big way. And you said that by the time you came to the project, it was already called Monica, Oh My Darling.
It was called Monica, Oh My Darling.
So the song must have been...
Yeah, so the one thing that we 100% knew that we are not going to let anyone dance on the song. And not touch with the instrumentation, just use the song as is. So these two things were very sure. We were very sure of because no point touching that and no point doing what Helen did.
Yeah.
So which is why we've used the song in a different space in that sense. But the music,
The music,
Achint,
yeah.
So Achint and me, we go a long way. I've known him for a while. But for this film specifically, we kind of referenced a lot of Shankar Jaikishan. Not just Adi Burman was of course there.
Of course.
With the grunts and all that. But it was mostly Shankar Jaikishan because of the range that they kind of came up with, right from composing to Raj Kapoor to Merchant Ivory.
That's true.
And so they also dabbed into rock and roll, a lot of Western influences. We all always associate Adi Burman with Western, but actually Shankar Jaikishan have their own set of kick-ass songs. Like in Gumrah, that Jaan Pehchano, it's played in so many Western weddings as well. Yeah. So we went into that. We went into the very old school first crack the melody, then the structure, then the layers. So because in electronics, these guys are very good. All the new music directors, even the scratch sounds probably produced that it's good. But sometimes you miss the melody. You don't know what the song is. So we decided to like wo gaddi laga ke. We didn't do that, but that was the spirit that we entered the music with. And Achint he's incredible. Yeah, he's researched so much, and actually authentically recreated the layers of what makes a retro song, because it shouldn't be a spoof.
No, no.
It should be out of tribute and hopefully be original as well.
Yeah, it feels like a lovely balance between the contemporary sort of, sonic aesthetic
Yeah.
and, of course, an old tune and everything, all the memories that you have associated with that. Yeah.
And we also cast singers. Like we kind of hunted for people who would sing for orchestras, like Asha Bhosle Knight, Hemant Kumar Knight, Mohammad Rafi Knight. So those people who never really got a stab at playback singing because they don't have an original voice, but they're still very good singers. So we kind of, rather than someone mimicking them, we just took people who, have lived their life this way.
Super fun.
So yeah, they also contributed really well.
This is such a delicious cast. I'm just wondering, what was a day on this set like? How did you all just play off each other?
It was very easy.
Yeah.
I think we all are friends offset also. So I think that really helped because it didn't seem like work. It was like, oh, we're meeting each other.
It was pretty easy. I think the kind of environment he creates on set is very easygoing, and I never felt under any kind of pressure. So they were like tough scenes and challenges, like a lot of action sequences. But I think we just kept it pretty easy. Like Swapnil also is a DOP, is a dear friend of ours. And in between takes, of course, we would have our share of fun, and Swapnil and Vasan would be busy doing bottle flipping.
Since Ray, you all are doing this.
I think for Sikku it must have been tough, but because the first scene that we shot of him was the highlight of the film, his most important scene. And poor guy had to come and just jump into that scene, I think,
Yeah,
that
that
was a
small
tough
room
one.
with no air.
No air,
conditioning,
yeah.
Yeah, and the sweat. And the fact that you promised me that we're not going to start with that scene.
Liar.
It was just, it was spectacular. So when everybody says it was really easy, it wasn't for me. We were all friends. No, we weren't. I really wasn't. I didn't know them. I was meeting pretty much everyone for the first time.
And they lied to you. You weren't friends, and then they lied to
And
you.
then they lied to me. I mean,
Doomed
like, the only
relationship.
person who I actually knew really well was Huma. I mean, more well than I know the rest of them. And I told Vasan, I said, sir, as long as we're not starting with that scene. Na?
Correct.
He says, nahi, just relax, chill. It was like he was so chill while saying it. And then COVID hit. And then everything got pushed. And then finally we got the location. And then he said, Acha, ye day pe shuru kar. I said, chalo, theek hai. I had a weird feeling in my stomach. I just called him and messaged him and said, sir, we're not starting with that scene. He says, yeah, man, we're starting with that.
You manifested it. You manifested it.
While these guys are flipping bottles, I was flipping myself upstairs.
That's hilarious.
We have questions about that scene.
Yeah, okay.
We have
But
to
it
talk
really
to
went
you.
off really smooth. I mean, hopefully it went off really
For me
smoothly.
also. Yeah.
But it really was, it was awesome to be around Raj because I've always wanted to work with him also myself. I wanted to work with Vasan forever. So, and there was Bucks, who's...
Bhagwati Perumal. He calls himself Bucks.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
He's so fab.
He is.
I have a question about him too, so basically it was just like a lot of incredibly talented actors just working off each other.
Yeah.
Now
And
if
you
put
being
it like
very
that, yeah. If you want to put it like that, I don't mind.
Sure,
yeah.
you're saying it, we aren't.
But to be honest, I'll tell you, like, when, of course, we all shot the film together, we finished it. But when I saw the final film, I think the whole credit should go to only this man.
One man.
As we say, like how filmmaking is a director's medium, this film proves that.
Yeah.
Like we all shot it and we came back and started doing our own things. But how he put everything together and how he edited it and used that kind of BGM he has used and those cutaways and that newsroom guy, it's all him. I think the way he has packaged it together, I was blown away when I saw it. I expected a good film, but I came out watching a great film.
Wow, that's true though. Because
That's
they
true,
say
actually.
an actor is only good as his director. And that's really, really true.
And so many things like we did, like I remember like some of those Monica sequences which were like, I don't want to do spoilers, but like they were sort of fantastical in that sense. They were kind of fantasy based. So you're just doing it because, you know, he's so excited. Like, okay, ye try karte, wo try karte. So you're like, okay, let's do it. Now, I have no clue as to how it's going to translate. But when you see them in the film and how effectively he's used it, it's, you know, it's all his magic.
Very Basu school of filmmaking.
But I think that's the same
Yeah,
with the
I have
last
no idea,
scene.
Anurag Basu.
No,
She's
he's
like,
the
wow.
Vasan is the perfect child. If Sriram Raghavan and Anurag Kashyap were to get married, they would have Vasan Bala as their firstborn.
Oh, that's a good one,
He
yeah.
has actually inherited the best qualities of both of them, and I say this often. Don't
I
take
just
the
want to,
bad
like,
ones, huh?
I don't know. I'll cry.
It's true. It's true.
One of the things that was super fun were these little, odes to older films and filmmakers that you sort of sprinkled in details. I'm not going to give anything away because I think there's a lot of fun in actually spotting it as a viewer. Do you feel disappointed when someone doesn't notice it?
No,
though?
not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
It's your in-joke for
Yeah,
yourself.
it's for me. That particular thing is for me. And then when you meet your tribe, as I said, you know, and then you can just riff off it and but otherwise it shouldn't come in the way of storytelling. Because that's not the
There's
story.
one detail
that's-
where you've actually written "Thank you for pausing."
Yeah.
I loved
Yeah,
that.
I was really afraid of that also. Was it too cheeky? Yeah,
I
was
mean,
a little-
I, as someone who paused, I felt I felt acknowledged and seen. Great fun.
The right level of cheekiness. But Akanksha, I really want to ask you about your character because, you know, on face value, it's very easy to sort of dismiss her as the spoilt brat. But, you know, the more you spend time with her, the more you realize she has all the power in that relationship with Jen. So what was it like, you know, playing someone where, again, it's easy to dismiss her, but sort of bringing those dimensions in because she's the reason he keeps getting saved.
Right.
You know, and he's literally their plaything. She almost like she owns him in some
Right,
respects. So
right.
what was it like sort of navigating her?
I think I did not pay attention or didn't focus much on the fact that she controls him. So that was supposed to be what happens by the way. I think the brief from Vasan sir was, I remember the first thing actually he said was, you know, if she's having a bad day, she'll just decide she wants to go to Machu Picchu to relax. And she's not spoiled about it. That's her life. So I think I try to get that fun, almost clueless, but happy, but cool girl with a little grey undertones because I think every character here was meant to be grey. So I think that's what I kind of focused on, and I guess with the dialogues and with the way the scenes were shot, the controlling and the everything just followed through. So I guess I focused more on the main characteristics of her, which was she loves Jan very much and she'll do everything to have him by her side. I think that's
See, the controlling is like so inherent that
Correct.
you're
Embedded.
not even aware of
Yeah.
correct.
So deeply
Like
embedded.
drink la, like
it. Doesn't yeah.
Subconscious control.
yeah.
Like one of my favorite scenes is when he's come to you and he's like trying to tell you like what really happened, and then you get a call and you're just like, oh, we're just gonna kill that guy, and then he's like, kya hua nahi kuch? So dabli khate, whatever, what do you misal khate. I was like, oh god, like I've cracked up. And how?
When she said exotic, I was like, she's going to nail it. She was super.
For Angola?
Yeah, she so got the tone because it's almost self-deprecatory, right? You can sound silly, you can be silly, and then you know if you haven't seen the actor for too long, people will label. But I think she just got that tone right, and it was then fun. Then it was Then so many things we didn't add in the dub and all. We just then went with it.
Because your relationship with the character changes. You know, you just on face value, in the first scene you think X of her, and by the end, you know, you really see the dynamics of the relationship.
Which
We
I
got
think
it so right that he's almost saved because of her.
Right till the last moment. without
How
giving in.
Chahat mein that Shah Rukh and
Exactly. Ramya Krishna.
I can't believe you put out a Chahat.
But amazing,
Like,
boss.
love it. Love it. I love one thing. I love Chahat, but I didn't
Listen,
know.
I
Like,
would disturbed watching that film as a kid.
no, I'm
Like
just,
I wish never get a girlfriend like this man. भैया मुझे ये चाहिए.
okay. ये भैया मिलते कहाँ ऐसे? That's what I want
That's
to know.
right. Where can you order one bhaiya?
Bhaiya like that.
But you know, one of my favorite scenes was Sikandar, the one, that scene where you actually lay out in very graphic terms what the next few months are going to be like for the two men. And I just thought it was so funny and grim, right? What you're saying is very, very like tragic. What's going to happen to those guys and to all of you? How did you find the tonality for that scene?
It was just written. It was written so beautifully. That was so. I just had to learn those lines. And the thing is, I just needed to know those lines backwards, you know. And that was the scene. That was the first day of the shoot. I'm like, bhai, please, mat karna. I just had to know those lines backwards, and that was it. Once, and I was like nervous through it, to be honest. Like, I mean, when I got on set and I was going to do it, because there are people surrounding you who are at the top of their game, you know. And for me as an actor, and I just know one thing that helped me, which sometimes he just changes things randomly, but very subtly, you'll not know. But that scene was supposed to be done with the lights on, and then suddenly the scene was just with the lights off, and that really helped me actually. I don't know whether you did that on purpose or whether you did it for the vibe, but that worked for me because, you know, when you're on stage and the house lights are off, there's nothing. So, and for me as an actor, I know what I was doing upstairs. I was just pacing and just trying to get those lines right, because I have been thrown into situations like that where they've been long and where I have been stuck on a line, and then it gets a little tough. And I was thinking of that because you always rewind back to where did I get stuck the last time, you know, and that's the fear. But then I was like, I got to nail this fear at some point, right? I got to get this down. And somehow, I don't know what it was, but those lights went off, and just looking at both Bucks and Raj, I think it just came. But those lines were just written. They were just there. They were bang on. There was no need to improvise at all. And they were so beautifully written. कि ये होने वाला है, फिर वो होगा, फिर ये सोच लो. I mean that, you know, sometimes you just make those lines your own. Because that's the character. So these lines, they're just so well written that they are your own. And that's the beauty of the writing of the dialogue.
Do you like to improvise? No.
Yeah, a lot of times.
He can. He's
No, you didn't like it. Or not.
I enjoy it, but I mean, like, it's like for actors, हम लोग रायता फैलाते हैं, फिर डायरेक्टर का काम है समेटना.
Yeah.
है ना?
Yeah.
तो कभी-कभी ज़्यादा भी नहीं, मतलब, but the point is that फैलाओ रायता, इसमें क्या problem है? That took me a while to reach to that place. That फैलाओ रायता, the person who's looking at it will tomato it on his way.
Yeah.
But I'll go. I mean, why not? Because otherwise, I would just be like, suppose it gets over, then initially that used to happen. It took me to that place where I'd just be, it's done, the scene's over. Then you're just waiting like a deer, staring at the headlights. But then, you know, you know, then I'm like, how do you try to make it? You watch films, you hear stories of how they used to act and how people improvise. And then I was like, you know, let me just try. At most, what will they say? बहुत खराब था. ऐसे कर ले. Yeah, something might come out of that where he'll just adjust it a little bit. So I do enjoy it, of course. Something beautiful can come out of those also.
But he was in the moment. I remember that
I
thing.
know,
I didn't tell him.
we exchanged looks.
Yeah,
On the first take.
on the first take. Yeah,
He's like,
perfect.
Yeah, he's very good.
yeah. Because, and that was a make or break, right? If that conversation didn't work, nothing
Correct.
works.
That's what really
Yeah.
holds the film. Yeah.
But I also wanted to ask about how you found that character, because, you know, he's obviously a lot of fun, but, you know, he's obnoxious, he's entitled, he's also oddly endearing and really, really funny. And he feels very familiar. I feel like all of us know somebody like this.
According to Uma, it's me only. I think according to Bachchan also, it's me only. I don't think you even told me what this guy is supposed to do. The more I'm speaking, the more I'm thinking, oh, is it me?
No, not. In fact, I'd seen Tere Bin Laden
you've
too.
done a
Yeah.
fabulous job as
I
an
kind of
actor, and
knew
we're
it was
very
him.
proud of you.
So yeah, after that, Tere Bin Laden, I knew I had to work with him.
You saw Tere Bin Laden?
Yeah, of course, I told you, man. Tere Bin Laden 2 I saw. So after that, I knew I had to work with him, and then this kind of seemed like the perfect opportunity to start. So yeah.
Radhika, you've been very quiet.
Really? Have I?
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you now. You know, I was reading interviews you've done, and you talked in one about one of the things that you'd like to change about the industry. And you said is the way people look at actors. Because you said when they're putting a project together, everybody wants the best DOP, everyone wants the best choreographer. But when it comes to actors, they don't want the best actor, they want a star.
Oh, it's so true.
Which I think is so true. But when you work in a film like this, do you feel like the business is changing?
Yes, I mean, I think things are changing in the recent years. They definitely are changing, and I think not because we are here on Netflix's platform, but I think OTT has actually contributed to this change a lot, largely so. I think on multiple levels. One is that it's brought the world together in the sense that we can view content from across the globe now. So your standards need to meet that of like each other's, right? Sort of together. You have so many options to choose from. Secondly, all the projects get equal opportunity because you don't have to buy a different ticket to watch or skip or stop watching and go to. You can't just change screens in a film theater, right? Or a producer can't just block a number of screens. So you get equal opportunity, which makes the content and what you watch really important. So it's not just an outing with your family or a pastime or entertainment that you go for. You also want to watch. The value has increased, I think. And I think which is why you see so many wonderful actors that we've loved in the past and that we didn't know of, who are getting opportunity to do so much work. I know so many of my friends are so busy working, writers, actors, different technicians. So I think that's something fantastic. And on a screen, you're the same, right? Whoever you are, because otherwise I think it is true in a way.
It's getting better.
Yeah, definitely. I
I'm going
think
to
so.
quote you on that in further interviews about
Please,
the
please.
best actor thing. That's so true. That's crazy.
I think one of the really fun acting moments for me was the fight scene that the two of you have, because it just shifts notes so dramatically. Like it goes from, it goes from like something comic to something truly scary and violent, and then post-coital? I don't know. Like
Romantic, toxic romantic.
Yeah, there was a note of that.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about that scene? Like, what was it like to do that?
The most
You
fun
just
I've
had to
had.
slap me.
How
Twice,
could you slap?
thrice, 4 times, I don't know how many times.
No.
But I was actually looking forward to that scene. The moment I read it, I like it. This is going to be fun also because me and Huma, we're really good buddies. We know each other really well. We talk shit to each other all the time. And she's a strong girl. So it was very believable that somebody like Huma it would be easy for her to actually pull me through.
Yeah.
I think we were talking yesterday only. The moment she did that,
I was like,
that's her
this
scene.
is it.
That's the scene.
Because you let go of your vanity, it's survival then.
Yeah.
And that is when the kind of the power equation is never what you think it is. And so and then the first visual of that fight for me was he's on the wall and she's this. I didn't know.
There was
me
no
of a
safety,
theatre
no ropes,
trust
nothing. We did it
exercise.
ourselves. Right?
Yeah, I didn't know if that could be pulled off without wires, but she held them.
It's just squatting, guys. It's
She
all
did
your
it without.
But as a viewer, I feel that also the scene works because it's so difficult to harm anybody.
Yeah.
It's so difficult, and he's taken his time. And he's shown it as if it was a real thing.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do it. So that there's a tehrav in that scene. You're just watching literally real time, and it's not
like an actual
magic.
struggle, like you're in the room with
It's
them.
not magic. It's real, and which is what makes it so uncomfortable to watch, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's comical, you're laughing, the music's also overwhelming, but then what's actually happening is not nice.
Yeah.
But then there is someone who's so feistily defending herself
Yeah.
that it's not going to be easy. And then, of course, that shift that happens.
Yeah.
It's the most fun I've had doing any scene. It's a really complete, like it's a short film for me almost, if you know what I mean. And to do this with Raj has been like such a pleasure because of course we are friends and we hang out together and there's a lot of comfort and there's a lot of like ease. But also to work professionally with him first time like this, I feel like as an actor I have so much respect for him. Because there are a lot of guys who would be like, oh, let's not do this because, like I'm a guy. He doesn't have any of that and it's so nice and it's so cool to work with an actor and just have a sense of play. Like Vasan was just like, hello, and both of us literally were like kids, like, just having fun. And kuch bhi ho raha tha usme. Like at one point, I remember you even we even kind of were scared to like hurt each other because we were just so in the moment. But it has been like, I think, now when I look back, I'm like, I'm so glad I did this whole film for that one scene. It's really like...
It's definitely a highlight. It's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
yeah, I think so. Mine too. Mine.
And we just had a blast. We had an absolute blast.
But Raj, I also wanted to ask you about the other action scenes and murder scenes in the film. I really think, all of your sort of action and murder scenes are very specific and distinctive. Without giving too much away, there are times you are fighting technology, to put it vaguely. There's times where you and another character are clobbering each other with keyboards and, there's no sort of music in the background. So what is it like shooting a Vasan Bala action sequence?
It's fun, yeah. Actually, he designs them so well, and he himself loves action. He is a big martial arts fan, and even our action director Prateek. He is awesome. He's a trained martial artist. He's been doing it for many years. I'm glad actually he kept that single shot thing, because actually we also shot it. We went inside and we did it in cuts. But I'm glad he kept that single shot, because that was the beauty of the scene with the proper sound design. I think it was, of course, it was well choreographed, and both me and Gaurya, we were taking care of each other, that we should not really hurt each other, and also but also at the same time it should look believable that we are actually going for each other's life. It was about life and death at that point of time, and then how the jump cut happens and you don't know who's actually pulling who, and then you realize, oh shit, this one is gone. It's actually you're counting upon again. I want this guy to win. I want this guy to win, but then that's Vasan again, like the twists and turns. Yeah, but it was fun. Like I am a trained martial artist myself, so whenever I get a chance to do some action, I enjoy them.
I loved how much you saw and how much you don't see. It's the idea of
Yeah,
real violence
yeah.
takes place in your mind. It was very interesting.
But that's always the best thing, right? When you imagine it yourself,
Yes. Yeah.
and you imagine it 10 times more. Actually, I'm right there on the metro, is actually smiling. Ke You're like, oh man, Mark, blood must be spurting up.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
Vasan, how did you decide to cast Bucks? Because he's such a fine addition to all of these people.
So I already know him since a while, because I had done an ad film with him for Asian Paints for Down South. And I'd met him, obviously I'd seen all his films like Super Deluxe and his other films as well. And we got talking, and he always stayed with me. I knew I'm going to work with him. So my casting usually happens 3-4 years ago or 10 years ago. So with Bucks, it was 4 years ago. I knew I had to work with him. And once this character, when Yogesh was narrating, I was like, this has to be Bhagwati. And so when I called him, thankfully he was free, and he made time. He learned Hindi. He didn't know Hindi. So Bucks, I always knew was going to be like incredible.
And he's just so perfect.
He's
because,
superb.
when you say that line, which is also in the trailer,
अकाउंट्स डिपार्टमेंट के साथ कौन अफेयर करता है? ए जय, अकाउंट्स को कम मत समझ.
so funny. I think he's just fantastic.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He started off as an AD, and now he's
Really?
he wants to be a filmmaker. Has great stories to say.
What are you saying?
Yeah,
Really?
he's quite amazing. Like very in depth about cinema.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think he'll make a good film whenever he makes his debut.
Very cool.
And just lastly, to me, this is the most important question of this film, because it's the one that stuck with me most. What is happening to the Unicorn Group's share price after like the 9th murder? Because is business okay? Because I was genuinely worried. I felt like I was invested in this business.
It is okay. As I promised my father-in-law, nothing gonna happen to the company. Nothing bad gonna happen to the company. Trust me, I'm there. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry.
It's like the Tatas. Going strong.
That's the perfect closing note. But thank you all so much for doing this. This was really fun. And we really hope the film gets the audience it deserves. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
If you like this video, please like, share, and
Subscribe.
subscribe to Film Companion.
What natural actor.
क्या बात